Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from Shannon Grove's office, City Council news, news about the parade of 1,000 flags, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Wicknick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. In news from Sacramento and Assemblywoman Shannon Grove's office, she joined other Assembly Republican members at a Capitol press conference yesterday to tell the governor and the Democrat leadership that they have enough money to fix our roads and they don't need to raise taxes. To prove this point, Republicans laid out plans to spend over $6 billion to address California's transportation needs using existing tax dollars. The Democrats in the legislature want to take billions in additional tax dollars from California's working people and throw another $70 on top of our vehicle registration fees, rather than use current tax dollars and cut back on other non-essential spending projects. Grove said, "I disagree with the Democrats. We are responsible for every state road and highway, and without repair and enhancements, our roads become more dangerous, more congested, and damaging to our automobiles." As part of that bill package of Assembly Republicans, Grove spoke out about one part that she is introducing that would invest half of a designated governor's strategic growth fund into needed road projects, approximately $200 million. The state budget provides the governor with $400 million per year for projects of his choosing that improve air and water quality, promote public health, and improve transportation. California spends $103,000 per mile to maintain state highways, while the national average is $26,000 per mile. Yet our roads are still a mess. Said Assemblywoman Shannon Grove, the governor has said maintaining transportation infrastructure is a critical function of state government. Let's have the strategic growth discretionary money do what it was intended to do. Governor Brown called for a special session over 2 months ago, specifically to deal with California's unfunded transportation needs. Republican members of the Assembly presented their plan to provide $6.6 billion annually for transportation needs using existing funds and without raising taxes. So far, the only plan from the Democrats has been presented by Senator Jim Beal. His proposal would increase taxes on gasoline by 12 cents per gallon and on diesel gas 22 cents per gallon, with those taxes increasing every year based on inflation. On top of this, the bill would increase the annual vehicle registration fee by $70 and then adds an additional $100 annual tax for owners of zero-emission vehicles. So the battle gets going in Sacramento. One side wants to do nothing but raise taxes, and the other says there is enough already. In City Council news, remember, they are having their regular council meeting tomorrow evening at City Hall at 6 p.m. Yesterday, I gave a complete agenda rundown. The main topics of interest for tomorrow's meeting are these items. They'll be approving obligations for about $2.6 million on road construction and repair contracts. We'll get an update on current economic development from Gary Parsons, the city's economic development director. And they'll be deciding whether to award $8,000 in cash and about $7,000 of in-kind donations to the RACVB for the Petroglyph Festival. Finally, they'll consider changing the council meeting format, mostly to allow council comment at the beginning of the meeting versus at the end of the meeting, the way it is now. Now a reminder that the parade of 1,000 flags is coming real soon now. The parade will be on Saturday, September 5th, and start at 9 a.m. The Ridgecrest Exchange Club, in partnership with China Lake, will join our nation in commemorating the 14th anniversary of the tragedy of 9/11. This is the 12th year that the local Exchange Club has sponsored the 9/11 Remembrance Field. We will again include the Parade of 1,000 Flags, which has become this community's signature event. In addition, the Remembrance Wall is on display in the Kerr-McGee Center. And this will be the 8th year for the parade. The growing enthusiasm for the spectacular event and the fervor of patriotism of this community has captured the interest of dignitaries and folks from other communities near and far. The parade route will remain the same as last year. The 3/4 mile route begins at Sierra Lane's parking lot, goes north on China Lake Boulevard, then west on California Avenue, past City Hall, and into Freedom Park. The parade will be staged on the north side of the Sierra Lane's parking lot promptly at 8:30 a.m. Saturday. More than 1,000 flag bearers will post their flags at Freedom Park, followed by a brief ceremony honoring our wounded warriors, firefighters, law enforcement, emergency, and military personnel. Parade participants will include Congressman Kevin McCarthy, China Lake City and County dignitaries, law enforcement personnel, firefighters, military personnel, and the Burroughs High School Band. Contributing to this inspiring event at Freedom Park, flag bearers will become a choir of 1,000 voices singing God Bless America. The 1,000 flags will remain posted in the park through Saturday, September 12th. The traditional candlelight vigil will be held at dusk, Friday, September 11th, at Freedom Park. To volunteer as a flag bearer, call 760-371-4301. Call now to participate in this great parade. Again, this is a parade in remembrance of the lives lost in the 9/11 attacks in New York. Stay tuned for today's KZGN Talking Points editorial when we come back. Now it's time for the 73rd KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Here's today's topic. It's my response to your comments on the last editorial titled, "Was Trump Out of Line Throwing Out Univision Reporter?" Well, due to one fine reader's challenging response to my editorial, I felt this would be a good way to respond. And I'll be honest here, when I started this, I thought it would just be a short response like I usually do, and then move on to a topic specific for today. But after I started writing the response, I saw there was a lot I needed to include in my response to be thorough. So let's get started. Harry wrote, "I think you are right on with your analysis, Tom. Good editorial." Thanks, Harry. Then Ethan provided a lengthy response, which is what caused my lengthy reply here. Even he agreed it was okay for Trump to throw out the Univision reporter. Ethan said the following: "Was the reporter an arrogant fool? Certainly. So yes, Trump was within his right to toss this guy out. What would be nice is for the candidate supporters to be fair and balanced in their perception and criticism of all the candidates. Mr. Trump is also an arrogant bully. Where's the outrage when he insults a Vietnam vet POW? Where's the outrage when he insults a woman reporter by making disgusting references to her menstruating? Where's the outrage when he hurls ad hominem insults at illegal Hispanic immigrants by calling them rapists? If you want your opinion to be credible, then it's vital to be even-handed in your critiques. It is intellectually dishonest to ignore or spin away gaffes and transgressions when it's your preferred candidate that has screwed up." I'll start with his last comment. He said, in short, it is intellectually dishonest to ignore or spin away gaffes and transgressions when it's your preferred candidate that has screwed up. Well, Ethan, when have I said Trump is my preferred candidate? I have not decided who I'm supporting yet. But I'll admit that I am encouraged with the way he has stirred things up and that all the candidates are having to address the issues that are important to us. Another of your questions? Where's the outrage when he insults a Vietnam vet POW? I have to agree, and I did say this in an earlier editorial you may have missed. I believe he went too far when criticized Senator McCain. McCain is a true American hero. Next you asked, where's the outrage when he insults a woman reporter by making disgusting references to her menstruating? Well, I watched that exchange between Megyn Kelly and Trump live when it happened. Not edited versions played over and over by news pundits. Not once did Trump refer to her menstruation cycle, while critics jumped to infer that is what he was referring to. Note, he started the comment by saying, blood coming from her eyes and whatever. With the statement blood coming from her eyes is commonly used to refer to a person that is so mad at someone that they have blood in their eyes and are coming in for the kill. I have heard that phrase since I was a kid. Someone with blood in their eyes had nothing to do with menstruation. To change the meaning of a comment to fit someone's bias against a candidate is to be expected. So I believe you are wrong to immediately succumb to the media spin to turn his comment into something demeaning to women. Next you ask, where's the outrage when he hurls ad hominem insults at illegal Hispanic immigrants by calling them rapists? Actually, he used more charges than what you stated. To discuss honestly, you have to put his entire comment in perspective. He was referring to his belief that the Mexican government is doing nothing to help stop the flow of illegal aliens across the border into the U.S. As a matter of fact, the Mexican government is encouraging these bad apples to leave their country and come here. Trump's statement was meant to mean that within the large influx of illegal aliens, there are rapists, murderers, and lots of other undesirables which we need to stop. Did he say it bad? Yes. Did he sound bad the way he said it? Yes. It was easy to see as he stumbled through the comment he was speaking without a written speech in front of him, no teleprompter, and ad lib. When people choose to speak ad lib, they sometimes say things not quite as elegantly as they should, but the meaning is still valid. As witnessed by all the huge Mexican gangs we have in the U.S. committing all sorts of crimes and being extensions of the Mexican cartels, and all the serious crimes being committed against us citizens, this influx of new criminals has to stop. If people are citizens and commit crimes against us, then we have to deal with it. When we have to deal with people committing crimes against us that shouldn't even be in the country, then something needs to be done to keep these people out. No matter their citizenship, race, creed, or anything else. If they weren't here, we wouldn't be their victims. You also make this statement: Mr. Trump is also an arrogant bully. Well, I think that's not fair. What we are seeing is a candidate that is showing a backbone, expressing his beliefs, and standing up to his attackers. And if anyone attacks him, which is your charge of being a bully, I guess you think he should just take it and be quiet. Instead, he fights back. He stands up to these people trying to bully him, mostly the news pundits and other candidates. But the other candidates learned real quick that to attract Trump is not the way to go, because that only gives him the opportunity to strike back and get more news coverage. Right now, the news pundits anxiously await for someone to attack Trump, because they know this will be the next great story for the day or week when Trump responds. So Ethan, I hope this answer raises me up just a little in that you think I wasn't being fair or balanced in my editorial about Trump. And Ethan's final response for me to address is this. Ethan said, if you want your opinion to be credible, then it's vital to be even-handed in your critiques. To this I say to you, Ethan, just because you might not see in a particular editorial a criticism of someone, doesn't mean I might not have criticized them in a previous editorial. Due to time allowance, I don't always have the time to repeat things I may have said previously, and you may have missed. That's okay. Just keep in mind that to be fair to me as well, I may have already criticized Trump before. And I will again state that I think he has done some things that appear over the top, and definitely could have been said better. But as I watch him ad-lib speeches, I see him with a lot of things he wants to say in his mind, but he can't talk and say things as fast as his mind is running. This causes him to say things that could have been said better. He's not polished in his public speaking like most of the other candidates, but he is bringing a new excitement into this campaign. So today's editorial was really just a response editorial to Ethan's comments. My sincere hope is that Ethan sees this editorial response from me as just possibly another way to look at a situation, that people see and hear things differently. Oftentimes, interpretation differences are influenced by our internal opinions and biases. So to those of you that declare I won't post comments that criticize me, there you go. In conclusion, Ethan, thanks for your response. I really appreciate the opportunity to comment on your opinions. And oh, by the way, when I finally do decide who I support, I will so state. There are a lot of fine Republicans running. I have to learn about them much more before I make a choice. I'm Tom Whitnick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@KZGN.net. Stay tuned for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, above normal temperatures are forecasted across much of the U.S. In some cases, will be as much as 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year. Afternoon highs could reach 90 or higher from the Great Plains to the eastern seaboard. One exception will be across parts of the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas came in at 82, Georgia 82, Arkansas 85, Colorado 77, New Mexico 77, Arizona 84, and Los Angeles at 72. For our forecast here in the IWV, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 67, south wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 97, south wind 5 to 10 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Wednesday night, mostly clear with a low around 66, breezy with a south wind 15 to 20 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny with a high near 95, south wind 10 miles per hour. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 63, west-southwest wind 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 25. Friday, sunny with a high near 95, west wind 10 miles per hour, gusts as high as 15. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 62, west-southwest wind 10 to 20 miles per hour. And on Saturday, sunny with a high near 95, west-northwest wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. And today's record high was set in 2007 at 109 degrees. The record low was set in 1999 at 55 degrees. And that is your weather forecast with IWV. Now back to Tom and the rest of the KZGN News.
Thanks, Keith. And now Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Tuesday afternoon to everyone. Let's start with a local sports note. Burroughs High School Volleyball, Michelle Lazaro and crew, they open up this afternoon at home. Game times will be at 3:45 and 5 o'clock, and the varsity at 6:30 over at Burroughs High School. All right, let's talk about football. It'll be Burroughs and Tehachapi. Tehachapi won their first game 49-0. Tehachapi always very good on the mountain, a team that likes to run the football. Their coach, Steve Denman, one of the longest tenured coaches in the state of California. He has been there 26 years. He has a great record. He's won several CIF championships in the central section, and it'll be a very good test for Burroughs. Burroughs really, to me, passed their first test. They did a great job against a very good Palmdale team. They lost 14-6, but their defense looked very, very good at times. Some big stops, and I really like their execution. I think they're going to have a very successful season. All right, let's talk about Major League Baseball. The Angels lost again. They've now lost 4 games straight. They lost in Oakland, 11-5. Hector Santiago got the loss. Now the Angels find themselves 7 1/2 games behind Houston for first place. The Angels are in third place in the West. They are in the hunt for a wild card along with the Texas Rangers. Tampa Bay also in the hunt along with about 3 or 4 other teams. So there's going to be a battle for that wild card in the American League, not so in the National League. The Dodgers, a big win last night, took them 14 innings, but they beat the Giants 5-4 over in Los Angeles. Now the Dodgers, they had a 3.5 game lead going into that game. So you lose a game, it's 2.5. You win the game, it's 4.5. Now that's a big series. They play again tonight. The reason being, the loser between the Dodgers and Giants, one that doesn't win the West, more than likely will go home. There'll be no wild card. The wild card is going to come from the Central Division of the National League. All right, the Yankees lose last night. Toronto loses last night, so it's still a 1.5 game lead for Toronto over in the East. Toronto beaten by Cleveland, and all of a sudden, Cleveland is actually in the wild card hunt. They've come out of nowhere, and then along with the Minnesota Twins, who are playing really well, they've come out of nowhere again. They are also in the wild card hunt. All right, the Rangers lose 7-0 in San Diego. Every time the Rangers get close, they just start to fade away. And the Rangers were making their move. They lose, and they play again tonight down in San Diego. Same thing with Arizona. Arizona started to get real close last night. They lose to the worst team in baseball, 5-4, the Colorado Rockies. St. Louis beats Washington. Washington starting to fade away now. Washington has no chance for the wild card. They trail the Mets by 6.5 games, who beat Philadelphia last night in Philadelphia. The Reds in Miami also are winners last night, along with Tampa Bay, who beats Baltimore, but Baltimore's really just fallen apart. So in the American League East, Toronto 1.5 over the Yankees. Kansas City 13 over Minnesota, but Minnesota in the hunt for a wild card. And Houston 4 games over Texas and 7.5 over the Angels. That's your sports for this Tuesday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV. Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Coming up next, Ridgecrest Talk.